I was 18 years old the night my mother tore my MIT acceptance letter in half, not in anger. That was the part I hadn't prepared for. She didn't scream. She didn't throw things. She picked up that letter, 3 pages, full scholarship, housing and meal plan included, looked me dead in the eyes, and tore it slowly, down the middle. All 3 pages at once. Then she turned the halves and tore them again. 4 rectangles of cream-colored paper. The red MIT logo cut clean through. She set the pieces on the dining table like a centerpiece. Then she said 5 words. This is not who we are. My grandmother didn't look away from her television. My little sister Maddie stood on the bottom stair, gripping the banister with both hands. My father was in the garage 2 rooms away. He heard nothing. The whole tearing took maybe 7 seconds. I didn't cry. I didn't argue. I went upstairs, lay on my bed in the dark, and waited. Because I already had a plan. What I did at 1:40 in the morning with a roll of scotch tape and a locked bathroom door would take 7 years to mean what it finally meant. And what I placed on the carpet in front of my 5-year-old niece at my grandmother's 80th birthday party in front of 30 people is still the part my mother cannot talk about. My name is Teresa Davis, and this is what happened. I grew up in a brick row house on Mahanango Street in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. 2 bedrooms upstairs. Kitchen at the back. A grandmother in the front room who watched television with the volume turned all the way down like even sound was something she rationed carefully. My father worked at Lawless Tool and Die, 6 minutes by car. My mother stayed home. My sister Maddie was 13. I was 18. And in our house, there was a rule that nobody ever said out loud because it didn't need saying. It was carved into the family the way the word Davis was carved into the lid of my grandmother's wooden recipe box on the kitchen counter. Oak, brass hinge, 3 generations of index cards inside, lasagna, pierogies, applesauce cake, and underneath all of it the rule. The eldest daughter stays. The eldest daughter cooks. The eldest daughter marries someone within driving distance. My grandmother had done it. My mother had done it. My Aunt Carol had done it. I was next in line and nobody had asked me if I wanted the job. I never said no out loud. That was not how we operated. I said no the way the women in my family said no. Quietly, in private, in a place no one would look for me. That place was the school library on Garfield Avenue, 2nd floor, west window, the table behind the encyclopedias. I took the SAT in October. I took the ACT in November. I lied about where I was on Saturday mornings. My mother thought I was working a shift at the Patel family bakery for $10 cash. I was 3 Saturdays out of 4. The 4th Saturday, I was on a Greyhound bus to Philadelphia for a standardized test. I scored 1,560 on the ESAT, 35 on the ACT. I told no one. I sent in 7 applications. 1 was to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. 6 were safety schools I could not afford. My plan and I had thought it through with the same precision I gave every problem set was to apply on principle, in secret, and then decline if a yes ever came. To know, just to know, that I could have. The plan had not anticipated full need-based scholarship. Housing and meal plan included, but that is where everything started to unravel. Because when the big envelope arrived on a Thursday in March, I almost didn't make it upstairs in time. But what happened next nobody could have prepared for. The mailbox was the kind with a red flag that nobody ever raised. I walked home from school at 3:18 the way I always did, and I saw the corner of the envelope sticking out before I reached the porch. MIT in red letters across the upper left. Thick. Thick was the thing every senior in America was waiting for. Thin mean. T-no. Thick meant yes. I tucked it under my coat, went straight upstairs, locked the bathroom door, sat on the edge of the tub. The letter was 3 pages. The first line said congratulations. The second said full need-based scholarship. The third said housing and meal plan included. I read the first sentence 11 times. I cried without sound. I sat there for what my watch later told me was 14 minutes. I put the letter under the bath mat. I went downstairs and ate dinner. My mother asked if I wanted seconds. I said no thank you. She said I looked pale. I said I had a headache. I had 36 hours before the second envelope, the one with the housing forms, and the parent affidavit would arrive. I had Friday afternoon to figure out what I was going to do. I did not figure it out fast enough. Friday at 5:12 p.m., my mother was folding laundry on the dining table. White towels, dish rags, my father's machinist coveralls. I came through the back door from school. I had been played. Ending to retrieve the letter from under the bath mat that night after everyone was asleep. The letter was on the table, next to the dish rags. My mother did not look up. She kept folding. Bathroom trash isn't private, Teresa. She had found it. She had read it. She had set it on the table and waited for me to walk in. I was going to tell you, I said. Tell me what? She still didn't look up. That you applied behind my back? That you took 2 tests we never agreed to? I started to explain. Full scholarship. No debt. 4 years of room and board. I had it laid out in my head, the math of it. The complete absence of cost to them. My mother picked up the letter. She finally looked at me, and then she tore it down the middle, slowly, all 3 pages at once. By 7:30 that evening, my Aunt Carol was at our kitchen table. My grandmother had wheeled her armchair into the dining room. The 4 pieces of the letter were still on the table. No one had moved them. They were the centerpiece, the application. SS cake my mother had baked on Wednesday sat beside them, untouched. My grandmother spoke first. The eldest daughter stays. Always has. My Aunt Carol nodded. I stayed. Linda stayed. Teresa stays. That's how it works. I said MIT had offered me a full ride. My grandmother adjusted her glasses. Then they wasted a letter. No one asked me what I wanted. No one asked about the scholarship, the housing, the career I could build. They had already decided. They had decided the night I was born. They had decided when my grandmother was born. I stopped arguing at 8:15. I went upstairs at 10. I did not sleep. Stay with me because what I am about to tell you will leave you speechless. I waited until the house went quiet. Midnight my mother went to bed. 12:30 my father came in from the garage, his footsteps creaking past my door. 1:15 the house was still enough that I could hear the refrigerator hum from the kitchen. I went down at 1:40 a.m. The 4 pieces of the letter were still in the dining table. She had not thrown them away. She had left them there as a lesson. I gathered them. I took them upstairs to the locked bathroom, sat on the tile floor with my back against the tub. The Scotch tape was in the medicine cabinet my mother kept a roll there for the labels on her prescription bottles. I pulled the strip slow. I taped each tear like a stitch. My mother had taught me to mend things. She just had not said which things. Hems, yes. Buttons, yes. Letters from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology number. The sentence about the scholarship ran across 2 tape lines. I could still read it. I folded the letter into thirds. I put it in the inside chest pocket of my denim jacket, the one that closed. I went back to my room, opened the bottom drawer of my dresser. $340 in cash from babysitting the Patel kids next door. A printed Greyhound schedule I had folded into 8ths in October. Boston route. 5:22 a.m. departure from Pottsville. I wrote a note for Maddie, half a page. I told her I loved her. I told her I would write. I told her not to be afraid. I slipped it under her pillow at 3:40 while she slept with her mouth open. I went down the stairs in socks. The light in the garage was on. I had expected it to be off. My father was standing at his workbench. Sleeves rolled, hands greasy. The carburetor from a 1992 Buick open on a clean rag. He was not fixing it. He was pretending to. He had been waiting. He turned. He looked at me the way he looked at customers who came in with a problem they could not name. He nodded once. Your mother loves you, Teresa. I know. He wiped his hands on the rag. He reached into his back pocket and took out his wallet. He counted out 4 $20 bills. He held them out. I took them. $80. He had $80 in his wallet on a Friday after payday, and somewhere between dinner and 1:40 a.m., he had decided to give all of it to me. For the bus, he said. I put the bullseye inside my jacket with the letter. He didn't ask where I was going. He didn't need me to tell him. He turned back to the carburetor. I picked up my duffel. I walked out the side door of the garage into the alley. It was 4:11 a.m. The temperature was 31 degrees. I could see my breath. The taped letter sat against my collarbone, folded into thirds. And just when she thought it was over, she found something that changed everything. 7 years passed. I graduated MIT. I started a doctorate. Our lab spun out a company SenseCore mass spectrometry sensors for hospital labs, cutting infection detection from 72 hours down to 16. Patent filed. Series A funding at a $31 million pre-money valuation. My founder equity, 2.4% vesting over 4 years. I told nobody in Pottsville. The only thing that pulled me back was one phone call from my father, 2 years and 3 months after a previous call about my grandmother's stroke. I was in the lab running. GA calibration, Pennsylvania area code. Unknown number. I picked up. They're starting on Haley. Haley Maddie's 5-year-old daughter. My niece. The talk's about staying. Carol started it at Easter. Linda's nodding. Maddie isn't saying no. They're laying it out so she'll think it was her idea by the time she's 12. She's 5. Carol bought her a play kitchen. I closed the laptop on the calibration. I did not sleep that night. I sat at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad, and I made a list the way I made any list in the lab. Numbered, columned, falsifiable. Item 1. What I wanted to say. Answer nothing. Actions only. Item 2. What I wanted to leave behind. The taped letter. A document. Item 3. Who the audience was. Haley. Only Haley. Item 4. When. My grandmother's 80th birthday. Saturday in November. 30 witnesses. Public enough that the conversation could not later be denied. Item 5. What I would not do. Argue. Raise my voice. Apologize for being late. Called a lawyer the next morning. Sarah Klein. Office on Boylston Street in the Back Bay. I told her what I wanted. A trust. $250,000. Liquidated from my Senscore shares. Beneficiaries. Any female or male descendant of Margaret Davis. Age 17 or older, accepted into any accredited college, university, or trade school in the United States or Canada. 2-year, 4-year, certificate, it did not matter. Sarah said, "You want the boys included." I said, "The tradition was gendered. The trust isn't. That's the point." 11 days later, signed and notarized. The instrument was named the Davis Daughters Education Trust. I kept the word daughters in the title on purpose. The party was 30 people in my mother's living room. Folding chairs along the wall, plastic tablecloths, a white cake that read Happy 80th, and my grandmother, in the same green corduroy armchair she had been sitting in 7 years ago, standing to deliver the same speech she had been delivering. Earrings since before I was born. Davis women stay close. We don't chase. We don't drift. We don't get above ourselves. She looked down at Haley on the carpet, 5 years old, rolling a plastic bay horse along the edge of the coffee table. And one day soon, my Haley will stay too. 28 glasses went up, 28 voices. To stay. My father lifted his coffee cup halfway. He stopped at his sternum. He did not say the words. 2 glasses did not go up. Mine, and when I looked across the room, Maddie's. My mother crossed toward me after the toast. She kept her voice low. "Whatever you're thinking, don't." I'm not thinking. I already decided. You will not embarrass this family today. I'm not going to embarrass anyone. I'm going to talk to Haley. I picked up the briefcase. I walked across the carpet. I knelt on one knee in front of my niece. She had her mother's eyes. She did not know who I was. I had been gone before she was born. "Hi, Haley. I'm your Aunt Teresa," she said. "Okay." I opened the briefcase on the carpet. I took out the taped MIT letter. I unfolded it. I laid it between us. The Browning tape was visible across the scholarship sentence. This is from when I was 18. If you ever want to go to school anywhere, high school, college, trade school, anywhere, this is a letter that says someone said yes to me. Someone will say yes to you too. You don't have to take the same letter. You'll get your own. From the kitchen doorway, Teresa. Stop. I stood. I walked to the coffee table. I laid the cream-colored envelope beside the birthday cake. This is $250,000. It's in a trust. It's for any girl in this family who wants school or any boy. Cody too. Aunt Carol stood up. You can't do this here. I did it 3 weeks ago. I'm just telling you now. My grandmother rose from the armchair. The cane took her weight. Her face was red. Teresa Marie Davis, the eldest daughter, stays. I looked at my mother in the kitchen archway. Not. At my grandmother. My mother said, "This is not who we are." I said it back to her. Same volume. Same tempo. No theatrics. Then I'm not who we are. The room went silent. 30 faces. And then Haley picked up the taped letter from the carpet. She held it up at her shoulder. She held it out to her mother. Maddie knelt beside her daughter. She took the letter. She held it against her chest. She did not hand it back to me. I took the photograph from the briefcase, the one I had found at the bottom of my grandmother's recipe box, sent to me by Maddie after 5 years of searching. Linda Marie Walsh, age 18, standing on the porch of a building in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania, wearing nursing scrubs that did not yet belong to her, holding a Lehigh Carbon Community College brochure, smiling, in a way I had never once seen in 40 family photographs. I laid it face up on the dining table, next to the cake. I said nothing. My mother stepped into the dining room. She looked at the photographer. RAF, 4 seconds. She picked it up, turned it over, turned it back. Where did you wear? I waited. I walked to the door. I put my hand on the knob. I turned to my mother one last time. I taped mine too, Mom. Same brand of tape. I opened the door. I walked out. The truth had been hiding in plain sight all along. And when it finally came out, Maddie came to the rental car 15 minutes later. She was holding the taped letter and the cream-colored envelope. Her breath made white air. She came right up to the window. Haley wants to keep this. She can. The trust, is it real? Notarized. Sarah Klein, Boston. She breathed out. What about Cody? Read page 3. She nodded. She held the letter and the envelope against her chest and walked back across the street. The door closed. I turned the key. The engine started. 3 months later, my father called again. Wednesday, 6:40 p.m. I was cutting onions at my kitchen counter. Haley just started a Saturday science program at Lehigh Carbon C, Immunity College, STM camp for elementary kids. Maddie used the trust to register her. I stopped cutting. It's 6 Saturdays, 5 hours each. Maddie's driving her. Tim said it was Maddie's money to spend. Maddie said it was Haley's. Thank you for telling me. A long pause. Teresa, I should have called sooner. 7 years sooner. Yes. The envelope from Pottsville arrived 3 weeks after that call. Pink paper. Return address in Haley's kindergarten handwriting. All caps. Backwards Y. Inside a letter in crayon, pink and red. Dear Aunt Teresa, Mom said you went to MIT. I am drawing a building. The building has my name on it. I am 5. Love, Haley. And a drawing. A red brick building. 3 stories, 6 windows. Haley's name across the top in red crayon. Folded inside the drawing was the original taped MIT letter. The same one I had laid on the carpet in front of her. Tape Browning. Fold soft. On the back of the bottom third, a yellow post-it in adult handwriting that I knew was Ma. D-Day Eyes, dictated by Haley. I'm done with this one. I'll write my own. I put the drawing on the refrigerator. I put the letter back in the frame. I hung the frame above my desk. The tape was still browning. The scholarship sentence was still legible. My mother, I am told, does not talk about that Saturday. She has not called. She may never call. I have stopped measuring the distance by phone calls. I measure it now by what Haley does on Saturday mornings at Lehigh Carbon Community College in a building she has not yet put her name on, but she will. Here is what I learned not at my grandmother's 80th birthday, but 7 years earlier in a locked bathroom at 1:40 in the morning with a roll of Scotch tape and 4 rectangles of cream-colored paper. The people who tell you who you are will keep telling you for as long as you let them. The only answer is not an argument. It's not a speech. It's not revenge. It is simply becoming quietly, in private, in places no one thinks, to look someone they cannot explain away, until one day they have to look at you and decide, do they look away or do they look up? My mother is still deciding. That's my story. 1 torn letter, 1 roll of Scotch tape, and a 5-year-old in a brick building she hasn't built yet. If this story reminded you of a younger sister, a niece, a daughter, someone whose tradition isn't done with her yet, share this with her. Because somewhere right now, there is a girl in a locked bathroom at 1:40 a.m. with a taped letter against her collarbone and a bus ticket in her hand. And she just needs to know that someone made it. Drop a comment if you know her. Subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.